So excited to be here presenting a live demo for Agentic AI. Let me show you what we have. So this is Central Copilot. We are going to start with user-driven workflow of communicating with autonomous orchestrator. Let's ask a complex question that requires to join multiple data sources. So I saw some of the gateways joined a cluster at Roseville site. Let's ask for the list of these gateways, and maybe throw a connectivity path in there as well. Path for the latest one. I definitely made some spelling mistakes there. I'm sure LLM will understand.
Based on our rehearsals, I'm sure it will. So what's going on in the background is essentially this has kicked off an engine that's parsing down what Divya's request was and what she was asking for. It's then using the reasoning to kind of determine what agents it needs to talk to across Central. These agents, sub-agents really, are the things like understanding what a site is, understanding that Roseville is one of those sites, understanding gateways and the idea of clusters, understanding that to get something like a connectivity path, it has to start to go dive into that gateway, extract what the different wired interfaces are, maybe stitch them to other devices in the network, and then pull all that information back into the reasoning agent so that the reasoning agent can put it together and start to form a really sensible output for Divya to be able to take her next action. This is something in which all of that stuff is then formed into UIs that essentially help the user in whatever their next step is going to be. So I think we've got some really good output here. Do you think we can go through it here?
Yes, of course. So in a few seconds, it took a complex question, understood the context, joined different data sources, and generated an output. The output consists of multi-parts. First is the text-based response. OK, so first is the text-based response. Here we get a quick summary like the gateway name. Then we have is the detailed breakdown, like the status, health, role, cluster it has joined. We also have the connectivity path and the wired interface that is used to connect to the Core 1 switch. Next is the device table. This is where you get the second-level information about the gateway. And you can do all the good things like sort, filter, search, customize the columns, and even export this data. Last but not the least is the visualization for the connectivity path as I asked. Our orchestrator also creates follow-up questions based on my initial query. So let's also ask for the usage trends here. OK, so in a few seconds, it has taken all the information and gave me an output. I have not gone to a single screen within the dashboard. And moreover, unlike any other product in the market, we are using the same UI components that you are used to seeing in Aruba Central, so there is no learning curve as well.
That's right. So David talked about kind of two different models in terms of interacting with this Copilot. Number one, the one where the human is steering, and then number one, where it's autonomously being kicked off in the background. Do you think we can see that?
Yes, of course. So orchestrator can run autonomously. And whenever it identifies any issue, it is raised as a part of Agentic Mesh actions. Let's look at this roaming issue to find more details.
Now, this one is coming really, really quick, which may seem like we're just faking it or something. But the reality is that reasoning that we were doing before actually already occurred because it was autonomously kicked off. And then all we're really doing is seeing the output here.
You are absolutely correct, Miles. So roaming has been one of the hardest problems to solve in the Wi-Fi world. And we have worked harder to make it simpler for you. We already have a roaming insight that is based off prescriptive AI. So it runs at regular intervals, checks certain conditions to give a roaming recommendation. Agentic AI is a game changer because it can run in real time, and it can do its own reasoning and thinking. So it is definitely doing much more than just checking the set conditions. Now let's look at the output. The first thing you see here is the issue breakdown. So I know that this issue is impacting my Bangalore site, and it has affected 46 of our clients. Next, we have is the root cause. The orchestrator knows about your network configuration. And here, it is comparing your network configuration with device capability. So I know that we have enabled 11R on our WLAN profile, but the clients are not 11R compatible. Let's move on to the remediation.
Wait a second. So remediation, that's great, but let's show a little bit about how we can trust that this remediation is actually what we should be doing.
Well, of course, I have some data for you.
All right.
So looking at this graph and the table, I can see that the clients are impacted during FT-Roam, and these FT-Roam map one-to-one with the PMK failures. Now, this table gives me more information about the client devices. Our orchestrator is leveraging our locally trained LLM models to predict information like OS and model. Then this information is used to find the device capability, 11R compatibility in our case, using our rich client knowledge base. So I know that the devices are not 11R compatible. They are trying to do an FT-Roam and are failing in a process during authentication. Now let's go back to the remediation.
Let's.
So the orchestrator acts as a subject matter expert, and it is coming up with different possible solutions. It's looking at their pros, cons, and trade-offs. It is suggesting that we can disable 11R temporarily to resolve this issue, but a better solution is to create a separate WLAN profile with 11R enabled for the compatible devices. Now, I have an option to disable 11R temporarily from here itself. I can do it immediately or at a later scheduled date. Let's schedule it for a later date for now. Perfect. So as we saw, the orchestrator is not working in silo. In fact, it is reasoning and thinking and correlating different data points. It is looking at roam failures, auth failures, client stickiness, coverage holes, client capabilities, percentage failures, time series data, just to name a few. It would have taken you at least a couple hours, if not few days, to come to this conclusion. And the orchestrator did it on your behalf without even asking a single question. Pretty powerful, right?
Really powerful.